There I go. Hey, everybody. Eric Whiteside, Whiteside Tech Solution, or Whiteside Tech Solution Med Inc. Uh-oh, we're frozen. Hold on. Why am I messing up now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get on? My computer froze.
I'm on.
You see Coy?
I saw him, but you froze.
Yeah, no. I got to restart my computer. Can you start all this or no?
I don't see Coy.
Ah, freaking computer froze. All right, there you go. I don't know what happened.
See me? Sound check?
Yeah, you good.
Good. How you doing?
Man, my computer just froze all of a sudden. I'm like, seriously? All of a sudden, it's freezing right now.
There he is.
Hey, what's up, Carvin? Hey, what's up, Walt? We got Exemplary Consulting Group. What's up, G23? What's going on, Joe VQ? What's up, everybody? Thank you all for joining us. Don't know what happened at first, technical difficulties, but we're gonna make our way through everything. It is what it is. That's the life of technology. Before we get started, just want to say this is a medical disclaimer. All content and media presented today is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health and or personal advice. Always seek the guidance of your doctor or other qualified health professionals with any questions you may have regarding your health or medical condition. Never disregard the advice of a medical professional or delay in seeking it because you heard something or read something on this YouTube live stream. So I had to get that medical disclaimer out the way. We all broke. We don't need to be sued. Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all been?
Good. What's going on, fellas? Happy New Year to each and every one of you and everybody that's on today.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, you all too. You did anything good over the New Year?
2025. Well, actually, went down to Key West.
Okay.
Spent some time in Key West. It was good. Obviously, South Florida, the weather is always good, but not like you guys up north.
I don't know about that one. Hey, you see that snowstorm coming our way, so I don't even know.
That's what I said. That's it, man. It's too cold for me up there, man. I love Florida.
Hey, Derek, how's the weather out there where you are?
Uh-oh, can't hear.
Derek, you on mute. Nope, can't hear him at all. See, that's what he get. That's what he get for using that cell phone. Get on a laptop like all of us. All right, but yeah, over here, I know we got that big medical thing going on. So I mean, not medical, Lord. We got that big winter coming in. So for the military, they put us on standby. So that's going to be interesting. What's going to actually happen? My thing is, you put us on standby, ice on the road. So what do you think we gonna do? We got to drive to the base to get the equipment. So will you want us to wreck on the way to get the equipment? Yeah, it don't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but you know, there you go. I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know what was up, man.
Oh, G23 for real? That's where I want to be. That's where I want to be right now. 61 degrees. I take 61 degrees over. What's the temp right now is 32.
G23. You about to get the smoke from the California fires that I'm about to get.
Oh wow.
There's always something going on.
Always something going on. Wow.
Everyone, thank y'all for joining. One thing we'll do for this expected live or what to expect from this live, we got 5 things we're going to hit on. going to things we're going to talk about is going to be understanding obesity, learn the cause, risk factors, impacts of obesity, and physical and mental health. That's going to be one of the biggest things. We're going to talk about effective weight loss because it's 2025 and everybody's going to the gym, or one of their New Year's resolutions or goals is to actually lose weight or maintain a healthy weight. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about nutritional guidance, debunking myths. So there's a lot of myths out there. We want to actually help debunk or get rid or remove some of those. That's one of the big things. And lastly, mental health matters. We're going to discuss the connection between mental health, emotional eating, and sustaining weight loss. Because again, we know all three of those go together. A lot of times when you're stressed, you begin to just eat, binge eat, and we want to try to figure out what's a good substitute. So instead of constantly eating something, what can we substitute for that?
Got it.
So, hey, let's dive right into it. So, New Year's resolution weight loss. I know, Corey, for you, there's some, y'all doing I think it's business weight loss or something that you all are doing out there. Can you tell us about that real quick?
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Coy Ibrahim, co-founder of Coy Wellness Solutions. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that specializes in helping individuals get to the root cause of diabetes, hypothyroidism, metabolic syndrome, chronic disease. And we also expanded to the business sector. So we're also helping businesses to get healthier, to get employees more productive, even as we've getting through the pandemic. The pandemic has really stifled people's health in a negative way, sedentary lifestyle. And so with our corporate wellness initiative, we're helping businesses to have better productivity, to have better engagement in regard to health and wellness. And so we know that businesses have employees, the same health disparities that we see in, the individual sector. It goes right into to companies, especially with entrepreneurs and people, business owners that are looking to expand. And so we come in with the business, we link arms with them, understand their health disparities, their issues with their risk factors, and we do challenges. We do challenges that are inspirational to the company to help improve engagement, but also to get their overall health and wellness in check. And so understanding those disparities, helping that business get stronger but more productive is what we do.
Cool. I like that. How's did you say you just started that, or how's that going?
Yeah, so we've been doing this for the past 4 years. Again, we look for businesses that are struggling. As we know, for instance, like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, metabolic syndrome. A big topic that we've been talking about today is obesity and overweight, being overweight. There are factors that go along with that. There are risk factors that come along with that. And so we come in with the business, we go in and create fun, engaging challenges, weight loss challenges, mindfulness challenges throughout the year. And again, it helps to produce better engagement so that the employee is able to have a personalized program in a group setting, and we meet that person where they are. And so for any business owner that's out there that is struggling with their insurance claims going up due to folks having to go visit the doctor, medications, they're paying for those things, and as year after year you're not addressing those issues, insurance premiums, if you offer insurance or you're seeing your productivity go down, is important to have a wellness program or someone that can come in, or a company can come in like ours to be able to address those needs.
Cool. Thank you for that. Dr. Whiteside, you want to talk about anything real quick before we jump right into it?
Nah, My background, say everybody, I'm Dr. Derek Whiteside. Background's internal medicine. Uh, Jack of all trade, master of none. That's pretty much what I am when it comes to internal medicine. But I am big on preventive measures and preventive medicine, and that's the biggest thing, especially with the start of the new year. Health insurance, like Dr. Coy said, health insurance premiums will start changing. The insurance companies are looking for ways to actually either remove you from the insurance company or charge you more because of any type of medical issues you might have. So the main thing is everybody always say, well, at the beginning of the year, new me, let's go ahead and get this weight loss started. But there are specific ways you should be losing weight. I know a lot of people in the chat want to know, well, what about these GLP-1 agonists? We'll definitely talk about that because that's almost you can say almost the mainstay nowadays. Everybody wants to do this Ozempic, this what Zepbound or Wegovy, the Saxenda. So yeah, there's always a quick fix to everything, but when there's a quick fix, there's always complications from it.
Yeah. Yep. So we're gonna dive. Thank you for that. We're gonna dive right into it. So the first thing we're talking about obesity. What exactly is obesity? Granted, we have the medical terminology and just the general terminology. So to you all, what is obesity? In the chat, your obesity. Put it in there. What you think obesity is? There's no wrong answer. Just put it in there. So Dr. Coy, Dr. Whiteside, there, take it away. What's obesity?
Go ahead, Coy.
Yeah. So obesity is basically a disorder of having too much body fat. And there are multiple of ways to check body fat. One of the most common ways is the BMI index. That's the most commonly used because it's very easy to take your height and take your weight and you get a number. When you go to the doctor's office, that number, if it's over 30, that determines whether or not you are obese. And so there's some drawbacks and pros and cons with the BMI index. The pro is that it's very easy to calculate, but the BMI does not take into account it doesn't take an account of lean muscle mass and body composition. So at the doctor's office, things are done quickly and to try to determine certain risk factors for a person. But there are other ways to measure obesity. Fat mass. Doing body fat percentages to be more specific. There are multiple ways of checking for that. There bioelectrical impedance. There's skin fold calipers. There's old school where they dunk you in a pool and see if there's water displacement. There are multiple ways of checking one's body fat. And so there are different degrees of error with that, and to help you determine what your level of obesity is. And so that's mainly what the term is. And again, anything over 30 with your BMI index is determines whether or not you're obesity. You're categorized as obese.
Now let me jump into that. And then somebody actually has it in the comment was exemplary consulting group. Me personally, yes, I think it is skewed. And I say that from the standpoint that the BMI, when it was first created, it never took, like Dr. Coy said, it never took not body mass, but muscle mass in consideration. So you will see some of your pro athletes, your running backs that are cut as crazy. They're doing height and weight. So you can be a certain height, certain weight, have, let's say, 3% body fat, but your BMI is 31, 32 is calling you obese or overweight. For me, the military does mine, and they kept saying, oh, you're overweight, you're almost obese. I'm laughing, saying, all right, I can run a 5.5 minute mile, damn near 5 minute mile. An obese person cannot do that. What you telling me? But they weren't taking into size. They weren't taking into consideration the muscle mass. Right. And the other thing is that the BMI, from what I've studied and what I've read, it wasn't really created for the African American population. Right. And I say that from the standpoint because the African American population, from studies that have proven about our lean muscle mass, we have more lean muscle mass. And if you want to take into consideration, that's why they always say, well, African American population, the Black community, is not good swimmers because of the muscle mass. That's not really true, but that's another side. That's a side talk from there. But yeah, so it is skewed, and a lot of doctor's offices will use that on purpose. But then the true provider will take into consideration, all right, well, let's see how much, let's really take a look at your overall health. Let's get some lab work. Let's see what kind of medicines you're on. They're taking that stuff into consideration as well. But when we're talking about obesity, yes, obesity is the excess of weight. A lot of people think, all right, well, I'm slim. You can be slim, but you can actually have excessive weight over your kidneys, over your liver, your core. And you might not physically see it, but internally you can see it, which then actually produces or results in dysfunctions in the body. So people only look at people that are out of shape, 5 feet, 300 something pounds. That's what people think about obese, but no, or overweight. But you can actually look tall and skinny, but actually be overweight or have excess of fat or adipose tissue covering up some of your key organs, which will result in your diabetes, in liver failure actually as well.
Absolutely.
Walt, you did say one thing, skinny fat. Yep. Pull up real quick. So you can be skinny fat. Yes, you can be in the gym as a personal trainer, because Dr. Coy and I, we actually do personal training as well by National Academy of Sports Medicine. So we do NASM personal training. So that's one of the biggest things, especially at the beginning of the year, skinny fat. What we're saying is you don't have enough muscle. You have more fat than you do muscle. You could be skinny, but you don't have that muscle to, I guess, don't say overcompensate, but overshadow or move out that fat out the way. And that's the biggest thing. People think, oh, let's go straight to cardio. And that's where you get skinny fat, because you have to build that muscle. Going into the physiology aspect, building more muscle builds more mitochondria. Building more mitochondria is the powerhouse to help burn or rev up that metabolism. And over time, let's say you do HIIT class at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the evening, you're still burning fat. That's what we're looking at doing, but you have to build that muscle. So yes, there are cases where people truly can be skinny fat. Military wise, like Dr. Whiteside was saying, I'm always having to get taped. I'm 6'1", 230. I have about 13% body fat. They say I'm overweight. Military sentence, like you say, it says I'm overweight, but I'm not. I'm pretty much in the best shape of my life, but I always have to get taped because they're going off with just height and weight. For my height at 6'1", based on military standards, they want me to be 177 pounds. Yeah, that ain't happening. I ain't weigh 177 but middle school or high school, so that ain't happening. But yeah, that's what they're talking about when it comes to that part. Now, we talked about BMI. What exactly, Dr. Cole, you said this earlier. What is BMI? You said body mass index. Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, so the body mass index. So it's basically taking your height and your weight, and it's basically dividing that and getting that number. So if you were to take your height in inches, and then you take your weight in pounds, you divide that, and you will get a index, right? And so the key is it's just a way to measure for the doctor's offices. And like Dr. Whiteside said, it was there to measure or to diagnose obesity, but there have been issues with it. Even folks have even said that it's even racist, gone to to that extent, because it's not really taken into account of one's body type. And so that's mainly what that body mass index is. So there's some inconsistencies along with that, even how it puts you in a category that can essentially lead to you being on certain types of medications. And that's something that's very dangerous to really look at. It's a quick measurement, but you have to look at the whole picture at one's person. You have to look at other factors, like we just talked about, looking at blood work, looking at cardiovascular function, looking at other aspects of immune system and hormone function. All these factors come into play. Inflammation, all these factors that come into play, blood pressure. So it's better to have a better scope on things, not just to be so tunnel vision on the BMI.
Dr. Whiteside, you want to add anything on that?
No, I agree with everything Dr. Coy said. It's to me the BMI is not fair in my practice. We'll take the BMI. Well, I personally take the BMI consideration, but there's other aspects that I do to get a better understanding. And also, the other thing is my background being internal medicine. I work with the older population. I'm not worried about you being bikini ready, walking down Miami Beach. I'm not worried about that. I'm really not. It's just, are you healthy? That's what I care about. How is your lifestyle? How are you living? How are you eating? Which composes everything about you and about your weight loss or maintaining a healthy weight. Everybody's weight. So my weight and Eric and I we're twins. My weight is different from his weight, but my healthy weight you consider should be the same as his. I'm not 230, I'm 240, but I'm healthy at 240. Can I lose weight? Yeah, I can lose some weight, but I actually have a very healthy lifestyle. Can I drop down some more? Yes, I can. But it's all about how do you feel in your skin. If you, let's say, even if you're overweight, I don't mind that from the aspect that are you still healthy? Do you have medical issues? If you have medical issues, that's when we need to get your weight under better control. But if you don't have medical issues and you're living a really good and healthy lifestyle, I'm okay with your weight. I really am.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, thank you for coming through Bio Sugar Garden. Thank you so much for coming through. Yep. Both of y'all hit it. That is correct. G23, because it's actually going along with what we're doing anyway. Said, can you guys explain the difference between good and bad carbs? So we're looking at macro carbs and an easy way to understand labels on foods, because that's one of the biggest things in America. You notice in America, everything has been changed. A lot of our stuff is chemically processed, but if you go overseas, they have truly organic. So can you all explain the difference between good carbs, bad carbs, and also between good fats, bad fats?
Let me, before Dr. Coy jump in, because this is really not my background when it comes to carbs. I will tell you this: when you go to the grocery store, if it's in arm's reach, it's not good for you, plain and simple. And I say that from the standpoint, if you look at all your sugary foods, your unhealthy foods, they're right there at eye level. And for what they say, the average human is about 5'7", 5'8", so they're right there at eye level. Most of the stuff that's on your top shelf are your more healthy foods, and they do it that on purpose because your healthier foods, they want it out of reach because they want the typical American diet. They want you to be overweight. That's how the healthcare industry operates. People think it's a conspiracy. And you can kind of say it is, because if you're overweight, then you have big pharma that's going to prescribe more medications, which then you have complications for. We have medicines to take care of those complications. It's a downward spiral. So all your healthy foods are at the higher level in your grocery stores.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that we have to look at when we look at carbs, carbs is short for carbohydrates. And oftentimes there's a negative connotation with carbs, and we have to kind of take a step back. They're carbohydrates, they're proteins, they're fats, and we need all of them in the right amount in the right sources. So if we go back to the carbohydrates, typically what we want to look at is how we derive our glucose. Majority of it is the glucose, and we need glucose for our bodies to be able to operate. We talked about mitochondria and the powerhouse in the cell. With basically, it's there for us to create energy. Now, that analogy of what type of fuel that you put into your car rings true the same way of the type of fuel that you put into your body. So think about it from that standpoint. When you roll up to the gas station, there are different levels of fuel, and different octanes are there to be burned at a certain efficiency. Same thing with our foods that we eat. So with carbohydrates, there are going to be certain foods that are going to burn more effectively than others. So if you look at, say, a cup of a cup of sugar, like white sugar, it's going to have a certain amount of carbs. And the same thing with an apple. It can have that, they can have the same amount of carbs in it, but the way they're used and the way they are broken down, the way they are digested, digested and metabolized are going to be totally different. And so there was a comment in there about complex carbs. Well, the longer it takes to break down, the more complex it is, versus something that's very simple, like table. I mean, I think of table salt, but it's really, I'm talking about sugar. Like you're, just having a cup of white sugar is going to be very easy to break down. And essentially it's going to raise your glucose levels up. That's going to offset pancreatic function, and there's a whole cascade of other things that go on. But if it takes longer for it to break down, that's going to lead to it being what we call a complex carb. Say your vegetables, your fruits, certain fruits. And that's a whole nother category to talk about, but it's much different than if it was simple sugar. So that's the difference there. And the goal is for us to be able to have more complex carbohydrates so that we can utilize them and get the nutrients from those foods to better help our health.
Yeah, and if you want to look at it, you're looking at your complex carbs, your simple carbs. Let's say it's potatoes. Let's just go with potatoes, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Your white potatoes, not really a complex carb. It's more of a simple carb. It breaks down and turns into sugar, which then sits on the body and turns into fat. If you look at your red potatoes are a lot healthier for you. And even if your sweet potatoes are actually very healthy as a complex carb. The great thing about a sweet potato is people always want something sweet for dinner. Eat organic sweet potato. An organic sweet potato already comes with natural sugar in it, and it doesn't raise your glucose levels too high, and it also breaks down as a complex carb, which is healthier for your body.
Correct.
So if you're looking at your donuts, your pre-made processed foods, your sugary foods, your donuts, your ding dongs, cupcakes, all those are your simple carbs, which just turns into fat. And that is quick energy. You burn it in, burn it off, and then you have a crash. You want something more long sustaining. You'll always hear doctors say, well, you need to have a balanced diet, a healthy diet. You need to eat your fruits and vegetables. That's actually true, but and like Dr. Corey said, you have to be careful on your fruits and your vegetables. People think, well, bananas are healthy. Yes, they are. The catch is that the more ripe the banana is, the more sugar it has in it. It'll raise your sugar levels up, and switches from a complex carb to a simple carb. You don't want the banana when it starts turning that yellowish going into black or that brownish color. It's very sweet and it's not healthy for you. You don't want it in that green, but you want it where it's starting to move from green to yellow and it's still firm. That's more of a complex carb, and that's what you want. I know somebody was saying something about a energy drink, and your energy drinks, they're not good because the point of energy drinks is to spike your sugar. It gives you a rush of sugar. So yeah, you start drinking energy drinks, you're running all over the place. You feel great because there's nothing but carbs in it. Carbs and B12. Yep. If you want something healthy, I say stick with your B12. To be honest, and it sounds crazy, if you eat a salad with some of your, you can have your eggs in it, your carrots, your tomatoes, some healthy stuff like that. Is actually complex carb, and it lasts longer, keeps you fuller, and you actually start losing weight from eating it. I'm not saying turn into a rabbit and eat vegetables all day, but that's something that's beneficial.
And the key to it is really management of your glucose levels, essentially. Okay. And even in my world of helping individuals reverse type 2 diabetes, the main issue is that they're not able to normalize their blood sugar properly, and their glucose is sitting in their bloodstream, causing toxic situations, causing chronic inflammation, their pancreas, causing more insulin resistance, and that in turn creates a cycle of fat storage. So that creates a bad situation for a person trying to lose weight. So a person that essentially can be eating, certain fruits and thinking that it's good for them, but if it's spiking their blood sugar levels and they're not watching that, they're not monitoring it and seeing how their body's processing it, it can be just as bad as a person just eating, simple carbs. and eating poorly. So we have to watch that. And that's something that, monitoring glucose levels is something that you got to look at and seeing any spikes and preventing those spikes.
And the other thing somebody made in the chat, they're trying to figure it out is like, what's the best way to diet? First of all, I don't like the word diet. It has a negative connotation. I just say a lifestyle change, because that's what you're doing. You're changing your lifestyle. When you think of diet, you're thinking of being restricted on what you can and cannot do. If you want to eat some cookies, I have no problem with that, but it's all about portion control. The plates that we have, and especially when you go out to restaurants, the large plates, you shouldn't be eating all that. The amount of food that the body really needs is in a saucer, the small saucer, saucer plate. That small amount, you're fine with that. The brain will stimulate saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. You're not really hungry. That's the brain stimulate telling you you're hungry. You're not. I also tell people, when you eat, it's not 3 meals a day. It is actually about 6 meals a day. You want to eat about every 3 to 4 hours. And the reason being is because the body will burn energy, then it trickles down, goes up and back down. So when you eat at least every 3 hours, your body's doing this and maintaining stability. So that keeps your metabolism revved up the entire time. The up and down effect of your metabolism is what causes the confusion, causes the inflammation, and start causing the weight gain. You're looking at just your fruits, your vegetables, just trying to figure out the easiest way not to really say this is what you should be eating, because there's so much you can eat. You're just not restricted. It's just on portion control. That's what it comes down to.
Okay. Hey, great information. Great information. Right here it says Q was talking about, or Quinton was talking about, what do you guys suggest to someone who drinks water and add Crystal Light? Because again, that's what it is. A lot of people do not like the taste of water. Oh, see, but they want to add something to it for a little bit of flavor. Is that okay?
Yeah, I do. That's all I drink. I don't drink tea. I don't drink coffee. I don't do any of that. Well, I drink tea, but every now and then, but it's mainly water. I drink about almost 2 gallons of water a day. And water gets boring, but you also flush out your system. So Crystal Light is definitely fine. But the problem with Crystal Light is that it has no electrolytes in it. So when you're taking in the water, you're flushing out your system. Liquid IV is actually really good, and it has the electrolytes that you need. It will help you with your energy level, but it keeps you maintained at a certain level. The only thing I don't like about Liquid IV is that it's become extremely pricey now. But it is a really good thing to drink. Like I said, it replaces your electrolytes, which the body needs. Just plain water, it doesn't help. The Crystal Light is good because it gives you some flavor, but it still doesn't replace the electrolytes that you're missing.
Okay. So right here, Dan H says, why is it Dan that I need to eat protein with my veggies and fruits, or I'm still tired? So when it comes to that, like they were saying, you got to put a little bit of carbs in there. Like Dr. Corey was saying, carbohydrates. The prefix carb is your energy. You have the other part, hydrate means water. So that's one of the biggest things that I tell my clients. When you're consuming a lot of carbs or carbohydrates, you're going to retain that water. I tell people, think of it like this. When you're eating something salty, you're going to take the water in. So that salt's attracting the water. So the more salt you take in, the more the water you take in, the more swollen you feel. That's the same thing with carbohydrates. The more of the simple carbs you take in, the more water is going to travel in, and that's where you get the swollen effect. Now they have those fad diets out there. Well, I won't say fad, but like the Atkins diet, where you completely remove all of your carbs. You completely remove all of your carbs. Yes, you're going to drop weight because now you don't have that water weight. But at the same time, because you don't have that water weight, and they can get more specific about that, you're putting a taxing on the kidneys now with the filtration process. You're elevating your ketone level. So that's something you have to be careful of. So you have to have your carbs, but look more of your complex carbs than your simple carbs. Can one of y'all expand upon that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Crystal Light. And I would say I'm not really a fan of the Crystal Light just because of the side effects that have come from it. There are numerous chemicals and artificial sweeteners that are associated with Crystal Light. And the side effects can be from headache, anxiety, stomach pains, nausea, heart palpitations, irritable bowel syndrome. The list goes on. But even that, a lot of the chemicals that are in the Crystal Light could be carcinogenic, can cause cancer. And so for the sake of those sweeteners, of artificial sweeteners, one thing that you really have to watch out for is the ingredients that are in them. My rule is, if it's something that's really hard to pronounce and you can't really get past saying what it is after a certain amount of syllables in that word, more than likely you need to stay away from it, right?
Yeah, that's so true.
And you know, I'm not a good speller. I never have been. And so to go through a lot of these ingredients, and you look at the labels, and we talked a little bit about that, is studying your labels and looking at what's in them. If you can't recognize what that is,
Right.
think twice.
Yeah.
More than likely, it's going to have something that is very harmful for you. And so there are alternatives. I'm a firm believer in electrolytes, though, because you need it, especially if you're active. Your adrenals need it for proper stress response. Is good for hormone production, all those things that we need. But even if it's adding in just pink Himalayan salt into your water
Mm-hmm.
to get that sodium. There are numerous products out there. I'm not affiliated with any of these. I use these and suggest these with many of the people that I work with. LMNT is really good. Redmond's, Ultima. There are many others out there that have sodium, magnesium, potassium, and that's it. And you dice it into your water,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really good to have there.
So what about infused water? Because that's one of the biggest things. I know people don't like the actual flavor, so maybe they cut up the strawberries in there, because again, you got to take a look at your GI or glycemic index when it comes to that part. So they cut up the strawberries, may cut up some oranges in there, some pineapples. Is that okay? Would that be a better alternative than, let's say, the sugar, whatever it is you're adding to the water? Is that a better alternative?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I mean, if it's there to just flavor your water naturally, I think that's good. But again, one thing that I always look at is just an overall amount of fructose that you're taking in,
Mm-hmm.
depending on your goals, depending on your health condition, depending on what's going on with you. I'm a firm believer of customizing an individual plan. What's good for you may not be good for the next person. Um, and so, um, you know, however you can get that hydration in,
Mm-hmm.
um, is important. Infusing some, some berries, or a little bit, cut up some lemons or lime and things of that nature. I think that's fine. I'm anti more of the fruit juices,
Okay.
because again, that's, you're basically taking that fruit and simplifying it, and it becomes more of a simple carb. It's going to raise your glucose levels, raise your insulin levels. That's going to store more fat. So we're looking at, if a person is looking to lose weight, you're looking at really the management of your glucose levels and your insulin surges. And so any way that you can do that and normalize that is to your advantage, overall advantage, to help you to stimulate that metabolism.
Okay. So here, Carbon's talking about, is it true if you work out consistently, you no longer will have to take blood pressure medication? I mean, that's a double-edged sword, to be honest with you. But can y'all expand upon that?
Kinda. And I say kinda from the standpoint, there's no fighting genetics. And this is me practicing Western medicine. So if you think about when you work out, you're actually doing good for your body. You're stressing the heart, but you're doing good stress on the heart. You're getting blood flow through the body. You're working with the muscles in your legs. So you're actually you're actually in essence, you're losing weight, and you're losing the fat, or you're decreasing the adipose that's around the body, which is the heart, the liver, the kidneys, and you're increasing your muscle mass. Also, you're increasing, or you're making your heart more efficient. So yes, I've had some people who've actually come off of blood pressure medication, and that's been a great thing. But the thing is how long will you maintain that? Will this be a lifestyle change, or is this something you're just doing just to do it? And there are some people who They're just on blood pressure medication because there's nothing I can do for them. I have some of my active duty members who are on blood pressure medicine. They're not doing any steroids. They're not doing any of the illicit drugs. They're not doing any crazy supplements. It's just they literally have a healthy diet. But when it comes to genetics, from what I've seen, there's no way of fighting it. Some are just on it for life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at hypertension as one um, of the risk factors for heart attack, stroke, metabolic syndrome, those things. And of course, much like blood sugar, blood pressure is like a gauge. It tells you how much stress is on the body. From my standpoint, I'm always looking at, okay, what is the root cause of that issue? If there's a lot of pressure in the pipes, it behooves you just to ignore the source of that pressure. And so from my vantage point, if a person is on blood pressure medication, there's a reason for that. But you also have to look at, well, why is that occurring? And there are numerous reasons why a person is doing that or has high blood pressure. And it needs to be looked at in a strategic and a methodical way. If it's so uncontrolled, in my opinion, the medication is necessary to prevent you from having a heart attack and stroke, right? Is to try to immediately bring that pressure down so that you don't end up in the ICU, right? Or having an event. But, I see folks that if they're in a dangerous state and try to go totally alternative, that can put them in a bad situation, because if they say that, hey, let me just try to exercise this off and not address the real root of that, that's a stress in itself. Exercise can essentially be a stressor on a person. And so you have to find that common ground. When I'm working with patients, I'm always trying to look at lifestyle factors. What are, when we're talking about stress management, we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about sleep patterns, we're talking about
Home life.
yeah, like all of these factors that are often missed and or dismissed. Those are the main things that you need to really be looking at. And so if there are ways to, to meet that in a more healthier manner, you have to look at those and not ignore it.
Yeah.
So next thing up, what everybody's been waiting on. Hey, Shani. So the question here is what everybody's been asking about is we're going to the trends and the fads. Dr. Whiteside, you talked about it earlier, talking about the instant gratification, the medications, the Ozempic or whatever it is, the diabetic medications that you use lose weight. So can y'all explain, because there's a double-edged sword when it comes to that. There's good, there's bad, but again, that's not something that's a long-term. So can y'all talk about that? Especially, Dr. Whiteside, you're talking about the internal medicine part of it. How is that? Have you seen any patients who's been on that for a while, now they're coming in with like kidney problems or something of that nature? And Dr. Ibrahim, as well as you, because you're dealing with the diabetics, then that's a common medication. So can y'all add on to that? Because that's one of the questions everybody want to know about.
So the GLP-1 agonist, your Ozempic, a lot of people know about, your Mounjaro, and even your Saxenda or Wegovy. Those are great medications for specific situations, especially for my obese population, my diabetics. It works, but the way it works, it actually triggers the body to say you're full when you're not full anymore, and your appetite, you have less of an appetite, which in essence causes you to lose weight. The reason people lose weight so fast is because it stimulates an appetite suppressant. You're not eating, let's say you used to sit down and you eat 3 hamburgers at a time. You might end up eating one or maybe half of one. When you're taking in and you have decreased caloric intake, that instantaneously drops your weight. So that's how people are losing this weight, but they never think about, I'm on this medication because it helped me lose the weight. But now if I want to keep the weight off, because I have not changed my lifestyle, changed my habits, I have not started exercising, I have not changed my diet, I'm going to gain this weight back once I come off the medication. People don't think about that. The other thing is that and I understand the pharmaceutical companies, they're not showing you the negativity behind it. So it will cause nausea, it will cause diarrhea. The other thing is it actually causes nerve damage, and people don't know about that. It also causes what we call small bowel obstruction, where it blocks up your bowels. You become constipated, and then you end up in the hospital, and they got to do some surgical procedure to remove the crap, really, the feces out of you. So nobody's thinking about that. The other thing is that when you lose weight so rapidly, you end up having extra skin. The extra skin, it doesn't look pretty. So you go from, let me see, I had one patient, she lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. That's a heck of a lot of that's a heck of a lot of weight loss, which causes excess skin folds. And that's not going to look pretty because you didn't give your body time enough to firm up. So those medications are good for initial metabolic issues, but people that's just, to be honest, that's lazy and don't want to exercise, there's no point behind the medication. There's just not any. It's just the way the US or the way the Western world works. We want instant gratification. We want to lose the weight immediately, and we're not worried about the side effects from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting topic on my end because I deal with type 2 diabetics and helping type 2 diabetics reverse their diabetes, to help them reduce and eliminate their dependency on medications, to help them to lose the weight without exercise. And oftentimes I see in my world patients coming into my office because they've tried all of these medications to help them to reverse their diabetes or to get it to be managed, to be controlled. These GLP agonist medications were first introduced for diabetics. And it's interesting, as the years have gone on, it started to creep into the general population, people that just want to lose that extra 20, 30 pounds. And the drawback to those medications is that these Ozempics, the Mounjaro, the Wegovy, and all these medications, they cause serious side effects. It can cause pancreatitis, nausea, vomiting, acid reflux, all of these gastrointestinal issues, because it basically, like Dr. Whiteside said, it turns off your brain from believing that you are hungry. And that creates a major problem with a person, and it slows down your digestion. And yes, you're going to have some complications with that. If you're not eating a lot, you're going to lose that weight. And it goes back into our earlier conversation about weight loss. Well, what type of weight is it? Is it fat mass? Is it lean mass? And is that sustainable? And for most people, it's not. And for a diabetic, it's not really addressing the glucose either, right? So a quick fix or a quick gratification of losing that 20, 30 pounds, it doesn't change a person's diabetic situation. And for the healthier population, it creates a problem where you can become a diabetic or having other issues down the line. So it's something that you have to really watch out for. The commercials that are on TV, they make it really, really, paint a picture of a good situation. But, in our offices and things that we see, it's not pretty because of the long-term effects of these medications. And there are numerous class action lawsuits out right now on these medications. You could just put in Ozempic lawsuit. I mean,
It's a lot.
It's a lot, of people saying, well, the doctor didn't tell me that it was going to cause these issues, even though when you go to your TV and look at your ball game or your reality TV show, and then you have your beer commercial, your fast food commercial, and then your GLP agonist medication commercial, and they go through the litany of side effects that go on with it, but we forget about that, right? And we have to take that into account. And so, for the sake of just trying to lose the weight, you got to look at the root cause of that weight. Why do you have that? There's a reason why there is. That's a divine reason why that is occurring. And you got to get to the root cause of it and not try to circumvent that with medications that are trying to sell you a quick fix.
But wait, it gets worse. Said it from the standpoint is that they're coming out with the oral pills now. And I'm waiting. I want to say they're in phase 2 trial. And the reason being is that a lot of people don't like sticking themselves. So now you can stop popping a pill that'll help you lose the weight. That still comes with the same side effect.
Yep.
But what I'm waiting to see is more issues with cancer, because that's what I really feel is going to occur. The other thing is that since these GLP-1 agonists have hit mainstream so quickly, that you can start taking it for almost any condition. So I already knew that these insurance companies were going to start saying, all right, well, we're not going to pay for it for just weight loss. Oh, but you have you're diabetic, so we'll pay for it so you can lose the weight or get your sugars down.
Right.
Oh, that was one that just came out
sleep apnea.
weeks ago. Is sleep apnea. So now you can start Zepbound, I think it's trizepatide, for sleep apnea, which insurance companies will pay for. So the way around this for these insurance companies to pay for it, or the pharmaceuticals companies, is that we're going to do studies for metabolic syndrome or metabolic issues, and we're going to gear it towards that and put our studies towards that. Right. In essence, you're still losing weight, but we're using those medications to correct that issue, which, like Dr. Coy said, that's not the case. The underlying issue is your mental state. We need you to actually sit down with somebody and come up with a game plan and fix the underlying issue. Because once you come off that medication, guaranteed in less than 2 weeks, you throw on 30 pounds right on the spot. And people don't ever understand, well, I don't know why I gained all this weight. Well, you didn't change your lifestyle. You took this medication, which got you down, but now you're gaining all this weight back because you stopped the medication. The other thing is that nobody's paid attention. These medications have only been out for a few years. Mm-hmm. What I want to see is the 10-year and the 20-year studies. That will give me the results that I'm looking for, as in, how does the body truly respond to these medications taking them long term? We don't know the long-term effect. We know the short-term effect. We already have neurological issues. If we're having it within 2 to 3 years, I already know it's going to get worse for people that's going to take it longer.
Mm-hmm. So my question is it okay to use it as a jumpstart? Granted, like you said, yes, they're doing all that, but can I use Ozempic or whatever it is as a jumpstart for like a month, and from there start dieting or lifestyle modifications where I'm starting to exercise more, and then I can come off of it? Is it okay to do that?
No, because you didn't fix the underlying cause.
Okay.
You're jump starting nothing.
What are you really jump starting? Like,
that is correct. Now, if you're already working on your lifestyle change, you sat down with a dietitian, you sat down with a nutritionist, you sat down with even a personal trainer, you have a game plan, you're actively losing the weight. Okay, then I can see if you have some other metabolic issue. I don't mind starting you on that medication temporarily. And as a physician, I tell them, you're only going to be on this medication for a limited amount of time. I actually have one of my patients who's on it, and she's on it because of elevated liver enzymes. And we couldn't figure out why, but this medication helped her drop the weight. But the catch is that she actually has a very healthy lifestyle. She does Pilates and she stays in the gym. So she's doing everything she's supposed to while she's on that medication. And her goal is she does not want to be on the meds. So I'm going to pull her off of the meds within the next couple of months. The other thing is, if you look at the commercials always say with diet and exercise, but they say it's so quiet or it's in fine print that people don't pay attention to it.
Makes sense to me. I was just wondering because, like I say, that could be a question that was in the chat. I know that's a question for me. I'm like, hey, can I just jumpstart this, modify? But that's one of the things, and that was one of our things we were talking about, mental health. We got to get down to what is the root cause of it. I know, let's see, BioSugar actually asked the question. Where are we here? So we're talking about this. So one thing is, everybody knows at the start of the year, if you have insurance, your insurance starts over. So take a look at your insurance and see what do they offer. A lot of things like either nutritionists or dietitians is actually covered in your insurance plans. Take a look at that. Get with the doctor. That's our biggest thing. That's your game plan. Get with a doctor, see, take a look at your levels and everything of that nature. Get with the nutrition if the insurance covers that. And then also there are some gyms that actually accept certain insurance companies. So take a look at that. out of all things, Planet Fitness. I know people hate on Planet Fitness. I work at a Planet Fitness, but anyway, so Planet Fitness is a good place because they have trainers there. Get in one of those training sessions. They're free training sessions. I think they're like $15 a month now because of inflation. So they're $15 a month. But get in there and start exercising. Those are the things that you have to look at because we're giving you some little nuggets here and there. But at the same time, if you got that insurance, make them doctors work for you. Q said one thing here, or Quinton, sorry, because it's two Qs. Quinton said, I think that's why we need more African American providers because I believe others just put us on it. That could be the case. I'm not going to say yes or no, but it's based on your doctor. Your biggest thing is you have to ask your doctor questions. You're paying that doctor with that copay and those premiums and everything else. Ask them questions. We talked about it on one of our previous lives. These two doctors here, they will answer your questions. Quentin, you also asked about Dr. Coy. Does he accept clients? He's accepting clients now. He does virtual. He'll get more into that. But yes, get with them. If y'all want, get with them. Dr. Whiteside's available as well. Get with them. We're here to help you all out. Again, where it's all just going back to the medical disclaimer and
Edutainment, education, and entertainment. Edutainment.
That's the right way to say it. So, but get with a medical provider. If you want somebody local, want somebody virtual, it doesn't matter. Get with somebody, help them jumpstart. There's personal trainers out there, like say, I'm a personal trainer, Dr. Coy's personal trainer. There's personal trainers out there as well. But one thing, not all personal trainers are nutritionists or dietitians. So you want to be careful of that because some like, oh, I can make you a little diet plan real quick. And it's one size fit all. It's not going to work. So if you have that insurance, make your insurance work for you. That's gonna be the biggest thing. Anybody want to add anything on to that real quick?
Nah, that's spot on. One person asked, they were on one of the GLP-1 agonists, can you just stop it? I would say talk to your provider because I don't know why you started the medication in the first place.
Right.
And that's the thing is that me not physically understanding the background, I don't have a good answer for you. I know for me, I agree with somebody in the chat. I actually have people see a nutritionist before I start them on this GLP-1 agonist because they need to understand the proper diet or the proper lifestyle change, the proper nutritional intake that they have. Because it's all about calories. What you take in, you needs to come out. But if you take in more than you're burning, you gain weight. That's the thing. So you need to restrict your caloric intake.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is often missed in the whole grand scheme of losing weight is that there are also environmental factors that come along with that as well. There are many environmental stresses, and when I look at taking on a patient or looking at their health history, I'm not only looking at internally, with extensive blood work and looking at imbalances, but I'm also looking at things outside the body that are stressing the body as well, chemical imbalance, environmental factors that come along with that. And there are multiple environmental factors that are called obesogens. And these are chemicals, these are materials in our environment that when we get exposed to them, it disrupts our hormones. It disrupts your insulin, and it disrupts what we call leptin. That's a fat storing hormone. It creates issues with your blood glucose and blood sugar. All these factors that come along with your endocrine system. And when you have that disruption because you have plastics or you're exposed to different materials that will cause you to essentially store more fat. So yes, exercise. I'm a pro exercise person, and I prior to me becoming a doctor, it was all about that. I could put two people on the same workout. One loses weight and the other one doesn't. Same workout, same effort. And usually the one that is not losing the weight, there are other factors. There are what I call X factors that are present that need to be looked at more deeply. And so, yes, diet, yes, movement are important, but you also have to look at these other factors that come along with that as well.
Okay, excellent job. Urban Garden Chronicles. Hey, Urban. Hopefully the weather's up where you are is actually decent, unlike what's going to happen here. Anyway, so she says, does fortified foods or rich foods affect your ability to lose weight?
It's based on what's it enriched with. Some of the foods are fortified and enriched because of the diet or the lifestyle we live. So if it's fortified with calcium or enriched with calcium, enriched with vitamin D or what is it, iodine, then okay, those are definitely fine. But it's based on what the product is and what's it enriched or fortified with.
Yeah, I think you with any food that you consume, you have to understand what's in it, what are the ingredients, and how does it affect you. I think that's the most important thing there, according to your condition and according to the goals that you're trying to achieve. There are many foods out there that you may have not an allergy to it, but you may have a sensitivity to it.
Mhm.
And to me, that's just as important to understand, is that there are many foods that you've been eating for years and years and years, and you may not have an allergy, like, say, the most popular thing is like a peanut allergy, right? Um, you may not have a reaction, whereas you go into anaphylactic shock, but you may have a sensitivity, which causes an inflammatory process inside the body. And that in turn has your blood glucose going up. It has insulin surges and chronic inflammatory processes that may not, have a tummy ache, may not have a full blown reaction, but it's a storm going on underneath the surface. It's a subclinical issue. So understanding your labels, understanding what is fortified or what is enriched with, and how that affects you is important.
Okay. We've come across an hour, so we're gonna go about 5 more minutes.
Cool.
One thing in particular, we've covered so much today, and I love that. I want to charge you all. That means those in the chat and those that catch on team replay. I want to charge you all. It's the beginning of the year. Yes, we're starting off these New Year's resolution with losing weight. Start off with going to your doctor. Go to that doctor because again, insurance just changed. Go to your doctor. Create a plan. You don't want to go in blind. You want to lose weight. Go into that doctor. Tell them everything that's going on, everything you want to do, because with that, they can create an accurate game plan. If you leave something out, that may be something important. Anything that you think may be a little minute, let them know anyway, because this is your life. You want to change this life. It's not about diet. It's about a lifestyle modification. So go to that doctor and get with them, team up with them. Then from there, get with a nutritionist or a dietitian. Your insurance covers may not cover it. Get with them, see how that works. Now you have two people working together and they're on the team with you. It's about team winning. When you win, they win. That's what it is. And Dr. Corey can tell you that with all his testimonies on his website. When you win, they win. So that's what we want. We want you all to win. That's one of the biggest things. We talked about what is obesity. We did hit that very well. Obesity, understanding BMI, body fat, and overall health. We talked about weight loss, and when it comes to weight loss, the diet trends and fasts, as well as the medication. So now you all have a better understanding of the medications and is it good, is it bad, long term. Hey, CC, long term solutions and things of that nature. We did not get into exercise for beginners. We will talk about that on our next live in about a week or 2 weeks. So we will talk about that. We're going to add to that when we're talking about thyroid issues, one of the metabolic disorders. Is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Y'all are real docs. I just play one on YouTube. So I want to talk about that. And another thing is motivation and accountability. One thing I noticed is if you're on IG, Gina, as well as something by Sophia, is accountability. They do their workout, their poster results. That's accountability. Do that. If you have an Apple Watch, add people to your Apple Watch so they get that notification. They worked out. You're like, okay, they worked out. Let me get up here and do a little bit of workout so I don't look bad. So that's your motivation. That's your accountability. Check in with somebody. It doesn't have to be somebody that's right beside you down the street. You have people, they want to lose weight. Get with them and say, hey, what can we do online? We got so many streaming platforms. Get on Google Meets. Do an exercise on Google Meets together. It doesn't matter. The thing is, get a game plan and work together. That's one of the biggest things. Did any of y'all want to add to that real quick? We all respect you all time, so thank you for coming, but we want to make sure we enrich your lives with a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, I would say definitely if somebody could post Dr. Coy's website in the chat, because that'll definitely be helpful.
I appreciate that. And my charge is, I'm here to help. I love helping people. I love helping companies. If you're in a company that is looking to get healthier as a group, when we talk about that accountability aspect, that's what we specialize in. We want, you can't do this alone. We're not made to do this alone. And that's a part of the power of this platform. So I appreciate you guys for that. For those that are struggling, that are looking to create that plan to have an objective understanding of the root cause of their issues. We see Coy Wellness Solutions. Like us on our social media, IG and Facebook. We do various talks or lunch and learns and things of that nature, whether it's in person or virtual. So whatever it's most convenient, we can do that.
Put this up too. So did anybody else from the chat? Because these are definitely good questions, and we love that you're coming, because our objective is, yes, we have a little bit of entertainment, but we're focusing on education. We want you all to live these long and healthy lives. Because let's be honest, just last year, one or two of your classmates that's gone. They're 6 feet under. I hate to sound morbid like that, but they're gone. And it's like, dang, I just talked to them last week and they're dead already. What's going on? Am I next? And I hate to say it like that, but it's a wake-up call. It's time to start changing your lifestyle. We don't know when our time is coming, but at the same time, if we can adjust it. We can adjust our health, a healthy living, or adjust to a healthy living to slow that down. So, take that in consideration. Take that definitely into consideration. So we will be going to part 2 on, we'll let you know later. I think in January 27th, 28th, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But we'll post it. But please come back and join us. Definitely please come back and join us, because this is entertainment. We want to make sure you all have a good understanding what's going on. That's our biggest thing. That's definitely our biggest thing. If you have questions, hit us up. Thank you, Carmen, so much. She's dropping all of our social media links in there. If you have questions, hit us up. Hit us up on email. Hit us up our website. Coy, what is your website again?
Coy, KOI, wellnesssolutions.com.
So CoyWellnessSolutions.com, as well as we got WhitesideTacticalSolutions.com. We're available. You have questions, we're here to help. They're the docs. I'm just medic, but I'm here to help. I'm more of entertainment anyway, but I'm here to help y'all. You have questions, we'll answer those questions. Again, we're going to come back in about 2 weeks with another live, because we did not get to hit. Let me see on my screen, exercise for beginners. And that's one of the questions, exercise for beginners. So we want to make sure we hit that so you have an understanding of that, as well as motivation and accountability, how to stay consistent and focused on your journey, because we can start off strong, but then we're going to fizzle off. So again, it is a marathon and not a sprint. Take your time, lose the weight. So that's what we're here for. So if you have questions, hit us up. We'll bring those questions back to the back to the YouTube live when we come back in about 2 weeks. But between then, go to your doctors, charge your doctors, ask your doctors questions. If you have questions for us, ask us questions. We'll answer them. We're not going to shy away. We're not a gatekeeper. You want questions answered? We got you. We're going to help you out. Anything for you all before we end it?
Nah. That's straight on it. Yeah, have them send in the questions, and we'd be happy to answer the questions ahead of time too, or at least have those questions prepared. We could answer those questions at the beginning of the next talk.
Okay. Dr. Coy?
Yeah, appreciate your time. Appreciate the platform. Appreciate the participation here. I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
All right, y'all have a good one. Have a good night.